Welcome back to Beyond the Claim, Unfiltered Insurance and Adjuster Talk, the podcast that put homeowners first. Today, we're asking a serious question, or I'm going to say, I'm asking you a serious question. Is homeownership under attack? And which house is yours? Which house is yours? And is homeownership under attack? Here's why I asked that question. We're seeing mass layoffs across industries. Unemployment is climbing, and at the same time, foreclosure filings are up nearly 36,000 in August alone. That is a jump with 18% from last year. Now, for homeowners, this is a double hit. If you lose your job, the mortgage is still due, property taxes are still due, and insurance premiums are rising every year. And if too many homeowners fall behind, foreclosure spikes, and suddenly there are no more houses on the market. There are more houses on the market than buyers. That is a recipe for another housing crash like in 2008. And this is why I always say I believe that homeowners, we are the backbone of this economy. If this go back to a 2008, don't you remember how many homes were foreclosed on? How many jobs was lost? Everything went at a standstill, almost like COVID, right? Now let's talk about this. Mortgages, around 10% of all U.S. mortgages today are adjustable rate. That's way down from 34% what we saw in 2005. And that's what I'm gonna tell you. When that 2008 happened, all those adjustable rate mortgages, oh my gosh, those things came due. And those home loans were so expensive, those people could not afford it, and they could not refinance because the housing market had burst. Their properties were not worth that much. Like they said before, their property was underwater. So this is why they could not refinance. But for those families who recessed, I mean, it meant like hundreds of thousands of dollars that they weren't used to paying, right? Now, the Federal Reserve, they were holding the rates high, but then they have had a rate cut. Then you also want to add soaring insurance premiums, property taxes. And it's a no wonder people really will feel like the system is stacked against them. Because I said in another episode, it seems like a memo went out. A memo went out to all companies to do a layoff. And most of these companies, I don't care what sector you're in from this point out, some people think they are safe. You want to rethink. You want to rethink. And let me ask you a serious question. What house are you in? I want to show you 4 different types of homes. And you want to ask yourself, which one of these homes am I in, right? Let me bring this first home to the stage for you. I hope you can see this. This is a poor house. This is a house where you have a job. Your job brings this income into this window. And then that window, the money go right back out, paying your taxes, rent, utilities, foods, clothing, for your children, your auto. This is a poor house. Is where you work and all you do is pay bills. You work and pay bills. Now, I can't take credit for these houses because I got this from Myron Golden's book, Trash Man to Cash Man. I have to give credit there because that is a book that I've read over and over again, and it gave me some insight on what type of house I want and how I need to start working towards that type of a house. Now, again, this is a poorhouse. And you ask yourself, am I a poorhouse? Am I just bringing in my income so it can go right back out the window to pay taxes, rent, utilities, food, clothes? You're paying for your children, your auto. You're just working to pay those bills, right? So this is your first house. This is your poorhouse. I'm going to remove that one. Let's look at the next house. Let's bring this one to the stage. This house is a middle class house. You know, middle class really think they're doing it, you know, I got this car, I got this and that. But look, they got a job. It's bringing in money to their income window, right? And then it goes right straight down to wealth reducing liabilities. your car, your boat, your camper, revolving credit cards, student loans. This is the middle class. This is the middle class because as soon as you make a little money, you go out and get a nice car, going to get money to buy a boat. This is the middle class thinking. And then what happens? Also, that same money of income is also going out the window to your taxes, your rent, utilities. So this one income is footing the bill for your wealth reducing income. And then it also is paying for your rent and all those things. So pretty much, you don't have any money still, but you got some wealth reducing things here. You got a car to show off, a boat to show off, but you don't have anything else. You haven't created anything. You haven't set up anything to bring in any additional income. This is going to be that middle class household income. That's how middle class look, and I realized, I'm like, gosh, I really feel like I was in that area. I was in that area of being a middle class person until I'm not gonna lie, I have to give credit. I started reading that book. I started following him a while ago, Myron Golden, and I read that book. And that book gave me, looking at those different houses, I sort of knew where I was. I want to bring another house to the stage for you, right? This here is going to be becoming wealthy household. You still have your job here. It's bringing in the income. But then you got something else at play here. Income producing assets. That means that, hey, you don't invested in some real estate. You don't invest in some stocks. You don't probably bought a car wash, a parking lot. You're thinking about other income strategies where you're saying, hold on, I no longer want to be middle class. I'm going to take myself to this becoming wealthy household, to where I'm going to invest in income producing assets, not wealth reducing liabilities, income producing assets. And see, here you still have your job, but this income producing asset here is going to be paying for your wealth reducing assets, liabilities. It's also paying for your debt, your taxes, your rent, utilities, your food, your clothes. And then the income producing asset is also putting money back into the income window. So you got your job that's bringing money here, and then you also have your income producing asset putting right back into that income window, right? So to me personally, this is pretty much where I am, but I'm at a little bit of setback because I'm not working right now. I'm getting ready to go back to work soon, picking up an assignment. But this is pretty much to me where I am, because I noticed that I need to get some income producing assets, not things that are taking away from me. I need producing income that's putting in royalties. You got your licenses. You got network. You're doing marketing deals. It's different type of ways that you can get income producing assets. I'm asking you, which house is your house? Homeowners. We have to start thinking outside of the box. What house belongs to me? What house am I currently living in? Right? So I want to bring another house to the stage, and this is the house that I'm trying to get to. This is the house that I desire right here. This is the wealthy household. This is where you no longer have that job up here, because you worked yourself out of that job. You've come into enough income producing assets to where this income producing asset has paid out all of your wealth reducing liabilities. You don't even have that anymore. Your outage window, it's not even there anymore. It's because this right here pays for everything. This right here. This is where your IRA, your licenses, your real estate ventures that you're doing, your parking lot, your book royalties, network marketing, your websites. You can have they'll set up a website to where you're having a subscription on that website, affiliates. You're going to have to start thinking outside the box, homeowners. And I'm going to ask you, which house are you in? Not only is home ownership is under attack, But homeowners, you have to be honest with yourself and say, which house do I live in? Which house do I live in? When I'm looking at those four houses, which house do you live in? That's a questionnaire. That is a questionnaire. So homeownership it's under attack, and I believe it's under attack because this is the way that they want the market to go. This is the way that they keep us in chains. This is the way that they have us up under their thumb. We're scrambled. We don't know what to do. We start losing things. Unemployment, things get bad for us, and the rich keeps getting richer, and we keep getting poorer. And me personally, I just pretty much think it's a setup because, like I said, I think a memo has went out to every company to lay off, even though that company may not be doing bad. Because the company I was working with maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, they still needed us around. And I know that this company here, because I do research, on insurance companies, and I know what's going on. They have about $4.1 trillion of reserve, but they still let us go, even though their claims were in a rough place. They let us go. They did not care. They didn't care. They don't care about if those calls are being answered or if those claims are being taken care of. They let us go, even though they have that 4.1 trillion. I believe that they talk to each other. They shift the market however they want to. And this is why us as consumers and homeowners, we have to be smart. We have to be smart. And I'm going to tell you something. The numbers don't lie. Pressure is building, but knowledge is power. Homeowners can protect yourselves. Please protect yourselves by building emergency funds. Start investing. You may have your job now, but see how you can take some of the money from that job and start investing and buying income producing assets, not a new car. That's a wealth reducing liability, not a new pair of shoes or shoes costing $2,000-$3,000. You could have put a down payment on something that could bring in that money, or built a website, or wrote a book. I'm telling you, you're going to have to start really thinking about what you're going to do, how you're going to build that emergency fund, how you're going to choose what house you're in. If you're in that poor house, if you're in that middle class house, if you're in that house that's becoming wealthy, and you also know if you're living in that wealthy house. You're going to have to think, homeowners. I don't care if you go sell candles. I know someone that have their little candle business. They started from scratch, but they go out there to that farmer's market. They come home with $800 every weekend or more. It's usually more than $800. I have people that are starting to write books, building websites, because they're thinking outside the box. Whenever I'm speaking to them, I'm letting them know you have to think outside the box. You cannot rely on that job, because we know that there's no loyalty in jobs, right? Listen, you lose that job, you're like one paycheck away from losing your home. And then you don't have an emergency fund. Yeah. Get your emergency fund together. Stay on top of your lenders. See what options you have. Right now, the feds have cut those rates. What was a quarter point? See if there's some refinancing for you. Maybe you have a 30-year mortgage. See if you can refinance to a 15-year mortgage right now while things are in good standing for you with the new interest rate. Listen, and also keep your insurance current. Do not let that insurance lapse. Keep your health insurance. Keep your homeowner's insurance. Keep those main insurances that you know that you need, because I'm telling you, when time comes, you're going to need it. Storm comes, you're going to need it. You get sick, you're definitely going to need it. You'll be the first one out the hospital without that insurance. All right. Now, to me, the key at this point is being prepared. You want to be prepared before that storm hit. What type of storm I'm talking about? An unemployment storm, layoff, a natural disaster storm. So we're deep in hurricane season, and it's been very quiet for us, thank God. But this is a time where you prepare yourself and get yourself together. Homeowners, I'm going to say to you again, go back and look at this video again and tell me which house you're in, or tell yourself which house you're in, and look at those different homes. And again, I have to give him credit for those homes. Myron Golden, I got that out that book, Trash Man to Cash Man. It was something that just never left me. And so I've been working at it. Even though I mean, I had a logistics business which did not do well for me, but I have not stopped. I let the logistics business go. And so I am working on some other things, right? I am not going to stop because I do know these jobs are not loyal. The government is not loyal. Farmers, you all know, it's not loyal. You cannot be begging the government for a handout. You're going to have to pivot, and you're going to have to pivot, and you're going to have to pivot to look at what you have in your home, look at what you have on your land, and see how you're going to make it through. What on Game of Thrones says, winter is coming. Winter is coming. I say winter is here. So, honey, if you have not prepared, you may be in some trouble, but you better start pivoting. You're going to have to pivot. Now, ask yourself, which house you in? Poor house, middle class house, becoming wealthy house, or you're in that wealthy house? You know. Be honest with yourself and make the pivot. Look at different businesses, things you can start investing in to go from the poor house to the wealthy house. All right, last thing here for you guys. You guys know what I'm going to bring to the stage. If you see something, say something. Report child trafficking, child sexual trafficking, because you know it's just not child trafficking. They want those children for sex. They want them for sex. You cannot trust these women either. These men, you cannot trust these little children because these children are being they've been raised by these pedophiles. I even saw a clip where this lady she was adamant. She said, I don't care if he's a pedophile, if he's a rapist, if he's I will vote for him every time. I'm never voting for a Democrat. He can be all those things. And I said, well, yeah, he can be those things until it hit home and someone come and rape your child. Someone come and take your child and take your child overseas somewhere. You don't see them again and you already know what's going on. They've been lured or taken to be trafficked to someone for sex. That is so unfortunate for me to hear a woman come out her mouth and say that. And knowing that we bear these children. We have these children. These children are our hearts. No, I can't sit back and watch that. To me, that's why I say this country to me is somewhat like a mother who knows that their child is being molested by their father or their husband or their boyfriend, and they look the other way or they get mad at the child when the child tells. No. Call the National Human Trafficking Hotline, 1-888-373-7888. Every voice matters. Every child deserves protection. All right, that's my time for today. Remember, I believe homeownership is under attack, and I gave y'all 4 choices. Go back and look at the video and ask yourself which house I'm in. Am I in the poor house, middle class house, becoming wealthy house, or am I in that wealthy house? All right, until next time, you guys take care. I'll see you on the next video.